proof that the disorder even exists, and there is no objective test by which to prove that a person is suffering from the disorder. There is a predominance of attention deficit disorder in children of single-parent households. It would seem to be a lack of attention from parents more than any other. But anyway, listen to this. This is from today's Investors Business Daily. Folks, this is just more of the stuff that I pull off the internet in the morning. I could easily spend 8 hours getting ready for a show. I probably should. But this is by John Merline, Investors Business Daily. Drug use is skyrocketing in schools, but it is the federal government that might be driving the trend. Every school day, more than 1 million children line up at nurses' stations to get their midday dose of Ritalin. Ritalin use has tripled since 1990. The Drug Enforcement Administration is complaining that the widespread use of Ritalin, which produces effects similar to cocaine and amphetamines, is generating a growing underground market. And hospitalizations from Ritalin abuse are rising fast. Now, what was the role of the government in this? There were 2 changes in the early 1990s. Now, listen, I was not aware of this the other day. 2 changes. In 1990, the government opened the door of a lucrative cash welfare program to low-income parents whose children were identified with attention deficit disorder. Okay? It was 1990, and there were a series of regulatory changes and a Supreme Court ruling that opened up the Social Security Supplemental Security Income Program to kids with attention deficit disorder. And Congress ordered the Social Security Administration to launch a major outreach program to schools and welfare offices to enroll more children. The financial incentive to have a child labeled with ADHD is powerful. Under the SSI program, which provides cash benefits to low-income, yada yada, an eligible family gets more than $450 a month for each child on the program. Now, under the welfare reform law passed last year, folks, some of this is coming to a halt. But are you beginning to see now why so many children were identified or diagnosed with ADHD? It's because their mommies could go out and get $450 a month for each kid. In 1989, children who cited mental impairments, including ADHD, made up 5% of all of the disabled kids on SSI. The rules were changed in 1990, and a few years later that went up to 25%. Parents actually coach their children to do poorly in school and to act weird so that they can get this diagnosis and get their SSI. How many of you kids out there on Ritalin? How many? See, I got a tour group out there. We'll catch hell for that, won't we, Belinda? We'll catch hell for that. Okay, well, that's why I'm here. Now, that was rule number 1. Parents who scammed their kids into this ADHD thing, all of a sudden were getting $450 a month. And then in 1991, the Education Department said that schools could get hundreds of dollars in special education grant money each year for every kid that was diagnosed with attention deficit disorder. $400 in grant money for every kid diagnosed with ADHD. These 2 changes took place in 90 and 91. And prior to 90 and 91, the growth in ADHD diagnosis was flat. Since those 2 changes in the rules, ladies and gentlemen, the diagnosis of attention deficit disorder has gone up an average of 21% a year. And this is what is driving these kids, 1 million of them a day lining up at the nurse's station in school to get their drugs. This is what is driving it. Money. Money for the school. Money for the parents. All of this for a disease that they can't even, or a disorder that they can't even prove exists. 28 minutes after 11 o'clock. Take some phone calls here in a minute. News Talk 750. This is WSB.
Well, Atonement is a religious day